Hello everyone, welcome back. Let's talk about another medium problem on lead code today. Number of connected components in an undirected graph. Lead code 323. This is the second last problem remaining in our blind 75 journey. In this problem, there is an undirected graph with n nodes. There is also an edges array in which each edge is a pair A-B connecting nodes A and B in the graph. And our task is to return the number of connected components in that graph. But what exactly is a connected component? It is the portion of the graph where all the nodes are connected. Let's look at some examples to make it crystal clear. Here we have n equals 3 nodes and the following edges. So we create these nodes labeled as 0, 1 and 2, and we have edges connecting 0 to 1 and 0 to 2. All the nodes are connected into one single group via node 0. Hence, we return 1 as the answer. Now, let's look at this example. Here we are given n equal to 6 nodes labeled from 0 to 5 and the following edges from nodes 0 to 1, 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and then we have edge from 4 to 5. So, nodes 0, 1, 2 and 3 form one group and nodes 4 and 5 form a separate group, and there is no connection between these two groups. So we return 2 as the answer as we have exactly 2 connected components. Now how should we solve this? A straightforward way is to use a graph traversal algorithm like breadth first search BFS or depth first search DFS. Let's say we use DFS and start the traversal from node 0 and explore as far as we can using DFS, marking the nodes as visited along the way. So, we mark node 0 as visited and go to its neighbors. Here, it is only node 1. We mark it as visited, then go to its neighbor, node 2, and mark it as visited as well. Now, we have visited all the nodes reachable from node 0. So we increment the count of components to 1. But we couldn't visit all the nodes. For example, these nodes are still unvisited. This means that we need to check every node to ensure it belongs to a component. So we should start the DFS from each node. We check node 1. It is already visited. So we skip it and we check node 2. It is also visited. Next we go to node 3. It is not visited. So we start a new DFS from node 3, mark it as visited, go to its neighbor, node 4, and mark it as visited. Now we are done with the DFS starting from node 3, covering all reachable nodes. So we increment the connected component count to 2. Finally, we start the DFS from node 4, but it is already visited. We have now processed all nodes. The total number of connected components is 2, which we return as the answer. The time complexity of this approach is O of V plus E. This is because in the worst case, we visit every vertex and every edge exactly once during our traversal. So, it is linear in terms of the graph size, which is not bad. However, there is another data structure designed specifically for connectivity problems like this. You might have heard of it, the union find or disjoint set union data structure. It allows us to process edges one by one and merge components on the fly. If we have a massive stream of edges coming in, union find handles updates very gracefully. Let's see how we can optimize our logic using union find. As a first step, initially, we treat every node as its own separate component. If we have n nodes, we start with n components. So, here we have 5 components. To represent them, we create a parent array to track each component. Here, indices represent the nodes. For example, index 0 represents node 0, index 1 represents node 1, and so on. Initially, the values match the indices because each node is the parent of itself. So we start with a forest of unconnected trees with one node each. Next, we iterate through the list of edges. For each edge, UV, we try to union or merge them. Why? Because an edge between nodes U and V means that these nodes are connected and should be in the same group. For example, when we see edge 0, 1, they are not yet merged. So we call union 0, 1. Now, say 0 becomes the parent of 1. To reflect this, in the parent array at index 1, we set the value to 0. Crucially, every time we perform a valid merge, meaning we connect two previously separate groups, the total number of connected components decreases by 1. Initially, the total number of components was 5, which now reduces to 4. Also, for the optimization, we will use something called rank or weight array, which tracks the size of the tree. Initially, when we start the algorithm, all nodes are components by themselves. So we start with all values as 1, and after merging nodes 0 and 1, since 0 became the parent, the rank of node 0 becomes 2. So in the rank array, we set the value at index 0 as 2. The rest of the ranks stay the same. But you might ask, how does the rank help? Think of it this way. Suppose we have this tree with 0 as the parent and this tree with 2 as the only node. If we later call union 2, 0 and just make the node 2 the parent of 0, we risk creating a long linked list kind of a structure. This makes finding the root inefficient. But if we make the larger tree node 0 the parent of the smaller tree, which is tree with node 2, then we keep the tree flat. This allows us to find the root faster. So we always attach the smaller rank tree to the higher rank tree and add the rank of the smaller tree to the parent tree's rank. For example, we added the rank of node 2 to that of node 0. Now let's continue with the original example. Next edge is 1, 2. We again perform the union. The root of the tree containing node 1 is 0. The root of the tree containing node 2 is 2 itself. Now here the roots 0 and 2 are different, so we merge them. But if both nodes 1 and 2 in the union had the same root, then we would have skipped merging. But here root 0 becomes the parent of 2. So we set 0 at index 2 in the parent array and increment the rank of root 0 to 3 as we add the size of the tree containing node 2, aka 1, to its tree. And since it was a successful merge, component count drops to 3. So before the union, when we find the root of both nodes, this finding of the root is exactly what we call the find function. For a given node n, it climbs the parent array to find the eventual root. For example, here we can see that the parent of 1 is 0, which is also the root, as there is only one level of nesting. But if we had deep nesting, say node 5 was a child of 1, then finding the root of 5 would mean going from 5 to 1 to 0, and for that we would have to hop in the array. So to summarize, if find returns the same parent, the nodes are already connected, so we skip the union. If the parents are different, we merge and decrement the component count. Again, continuing with the original example, next edge we see is 3, 4. Both roots 3 and 4 have rank 1. It doesn't matter who becomes the parent. So let's make 3 the parent of 4 and component count drops to 2. Now we are out of edges. The final number of components is 2, which is our answer. This approach is elegant because we don't need to build an adjacency list or handle recursion. We just iterate through the edges. Now let's look at the complexity. Using union find with path compression and union by rank, the operations are nearly constant time on average, or O of alpha of V, where alpha is the inverse Ackermann function. So processing E edges takes O of V times alpha of V. And initializing the parent and rank arrays takes O of V. So the total time complexity is O of V plus E. And the space complexity is O of V to store the parent and rank arrays for the union find structure. Here is a quick code walkthrough of the algorithm we just talked about with Java code on the left and Python on right. First, let's look at the main count components function. The logic here is incredibly clean because we delegate the heavy lifting to a helper class. We simply create a new union find instance with n nodes. Then we iterate through every edge in our input. For each edge, UV at indices 0 and 1 respectively, we call the union on the nodes. Finally, we just return the remaining number of components using the getCount method in the union find data structure. Now, let's look at the union find class itself. We define this as a separate class so we can easily reuse it in other problems. In the constructor, we initialize three things. First is the parent array, where each node starts as its own parent, so indices and values match. Next, we initialize the rank array, all values equal to ones, as all the trees are of length 1. And finally, the count variable, starting at n, because initially every node is a component by itself. Next, we have the find method. This finds the root of a tree the node is part of. Initially, we can just set the result to the node itself. Next, we run a loop which should stop when the node itself is equal to the parent. At this point, we exit the loop and return the result. Because whenever we find the index such that the value is the same as the index, those nodes are parent nodes which we want to return. However, until we find this result, we keep moving to the parent of the current node. But before going there, we do something called path compression, where we point nodes directly to the root to speed up future lookups. For example, if I have a tree like this and we are finding the root of a tree containing node 6, then when going up the tree, we just compress the path and get rid of this intermediate parent 1 and make 0 the parent of 6 itself. Next time, if we find an edge connecting node 6 with some other nodes, we can simply get the root of node 6 in constant time. So to summarize, we just make the parent of the parent, aka grandparent, the parent of the current node until we hit the root node. This completes the find method. Finally, let's look at the union method. It first finds the roots of the two nodes we want to connect. If root 1 is equal to root 2, they are already in the same component, so we simply return false. However, if the roots are different, we proceed to merge the two trees. This is where we use our rank array to keep the tree balanced. To prevent the tree from becoming a long chain, we always attach the smaller tree to the larger one. If the tree at root 1 is larger, we make root 1 the parent of root 2 and add the size of root 2's tree to root 1's rank. Otherwise, we make root 2 the parent of root 1 and update root 2's rank. After successfully merging, we decrement our global count of components and return true. This completes the union method, and in Java, we have a getter for count and we can use this class in other similar problems. So that's all for this video. I hope this video was useful to you. If it was, please give it a thumbs up and share it with others who might benefit from it. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss an update. Your support helps me create more content like this. If you have any questions or suggestions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.